Hello everyone, welcome to this May the 4th episode of my stream. I wanted to show something in the spirit of Star Wars. I have my little robot here, my little R2-D2 guy that I got. Oh wait, that's wrong button. Oh, Adrian's head. Isn't that cool? You can talk to us. Yeah, anyways, thought I'd share that. I'm gonna go put it back. Bring it back. Awesome. All right. So what are we doing today? Today we think we're doing. This is like the bring me your issues thing that I think this is gonna be the last one for a little bit. I'm gonna start a new series I'm kind of excited about. Where I'm hoping to do some. Should I switch the chat? Hoping to do some. A series on block theme development, so building a theme. I've been talking about this for a while. I think I'm just have to pull the trigger and do it. In 2 weeks, I think I'll start it. Is when we do. I'm going to start building a block theme that is like for developers. So people who want to have a theme for their website when they're developers, they want to show off projects, maybe write some bloggy post stuff. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So I'm going to fight through that. So that should be interesting. Datio welcome. Thank you for hanging out. You say that now, but wait till we get into it. And I'm like, what is this basics thing that I don't know how to do? But we'll figure it out. Figure it out together, you and I. So, where did we end up last week? I gotta get my Ryan has issues. So we've streamed a majority of these things. Kevin, how's it going, Kev? Good to see you. Good to see you. Kevin's here, everyone. Oh, I pressed the button, but I realized it's not in this screen. I'm gonna switch back to my coding screen. So, Denise Kalova. Deseni Kalova. That's for you, Kevin. Welcome, first time chat. Thank you for hanging out. And Guten Tag. Oh, hi, Corey. Gutenberg, you mean? Do you mean Gutenberg? Such a horrible dad joke. Yeah, cool. So what, I don't know. So what were we working on last week? We were trying to mess around with images, right? I'm on the Twitters. Muktharia. I'm so bad at doing this stuff. Hey, JV Dub 1964, welcome. Oh, you're not a developer, but hope you can help me with my questions. Well, you know what? We'll do what we can. Drop them in the chat, and if I don't answer them, one of the smart folks that are in the chat could probably help out. We'll see. This is kind of a developer-focused stream, but all are welcome, and please feel free to drop your questions. Now, what did we do last week? Where did we end up? I gotta zoom that in because not a single person can read that or can see what that is. So bring me your issues, and we had, what do we have? The featured image block. Oh, that's what we did last week, right? Right. All right, let's look. Let's get over here. Oh, first of all, I'm gonna open the integrated terminal here. I'm just gonna kill that one and npm start to get our build process running. We'll see what we can do. This is kind of I don't have a lot to really do here, but I figure we work on that stuff. And I do actually want to share something that I learned yesterday that I thought was kind of neat. So should I work on the image thing or do the sharing of the thing I learned first? Let's do a poll. What do I need to do a poll? Just tell me what you want. Just tell me, everyone. Yeah. Okay, so where did we go? Share the secrets. Share the secrets. Why is that not showing up in my chat? Corey. I need to refresh the chat. Share the secrets. So I learned this thing yesterday about, so you know how we use it, getEntityRecords and getEntity. We're probably using it here. Let's look. We're using like a useEntityProp, and there's like getEntityRecords, useEntityRecords, all that stuff. Well, you could actually register your own entities using a function called addEntities, which I think, why I didn't do it there. It's called addEntities. It's not very well documented, unfortunately. It's in the core data thing. I can become my own entity master. What you do in the privacy of your own home, Corey, is up to you. But, you know, just, you know, letting you know. So addEntities allows you to create, like, to register your own entity type. So I'm working on this thing, and I'm really excited about it. But basically, I'll just get some code up here, and I'll show you what I was working on. Let me just switch over to gonna put a ghost in my shell. That's dirty. You're dirty. So what it allows you to do is create these entities. So you would dispatch it from here, and what you need is a you need an REST endpoint, right? So, and what this allows you to do is then use this somewhere. Where did I use this? I didn't use it there. Where did I use this? In here. Nope, in here. And then I can use my custom entity records, and then I get access to all the really good stuff. Like if you wanted to say hit an endpoint, right? Like, you know, I don't have a custom endpoint. Maybe we should just do that. You want to just build out a little endpoint, and then we'll see what we can do with it. Why don't we do that? That's what we're gonna do, and then I'll show you how to do this. I'll show you how to do it. So for our plugin here, I'm gonna just go into here, and I'm gonna actually register. We're gonna add an action. Add an action, and it's going to be, what is it? A REST API init, right? And then we're gonna do a function. Now you can do this differently. You can do this differently. I'm just gonna grab some other code that I'm using on a different project, and we can just look at that, and I'll just grab it. So this is a pretty simple way of doing it. Sorry, bear with me. I'm trying to keep it off screen just because it's not ready for prime time yet, and it's a bit of it's super secret, and it's gonna like completely change the way we do things. No, I'm kidding. It's not at all. So what we need to have a function called register REST route, right? So this is gonna, and then in here we have, so that's the namespace of our route, right? And then we're gonna have, let's do one. I don't know, what should we do? What do I have on here? I need to retrieve some info here, I guess. We'll call this streams, right? Because I have a streams post type. This is kind of a dumb way of doing it, because we can get the post type other way. Like, we can actually just hit the endpoint for the post types, but this is just for the sake of demonstration here. But if you wanted to do something a little bit different, you know what? Let's do something different. There was I did something where I was, the meme generator. That's what I want. So in my meme generator, I'm hitting this external endpoint, like right here, right? And so what I was thinking was, what if we created an endpoint that hit this, right? So in our like our callback function, we will call that. So this is what we're gonna get here, right? And we're just gonna do that. So this is gonna be called memes, okay? So the next thing it takes is not a div, it is an array, and it's an array of arguments, and the first argument is going to be methods. So it's a method. So this would be get or post, right? Now WordPress has got some built-in constants for this. So you can say WP REST server. It's a static. It's called readable. So that is basically get, right? And this just needs to stop yelling at me. There we go. And then you do this thing called permissions callback. Permissions callback. And this is a function, and you can either have it return something like this, like, you know, whatever the current user can, because this is sort of a public function, well, this is a public function. I'm going to just use this little helper method, or the helper function. It's called return true, and that's literally a function that just returns true, and it's in the WordPress scope, and it's all good, right? Because we just want anyone to be able to hit this. Make sense? Okay, Corey's got it. And then in here we have a callback, and our callback is run. You guessed it, when the endpoint is run. So I'm just gonna do foo function right in here. And then what I'm gonna do, okay, and then there's like a, I'm gonna do, so we're gonna use WP remote get. That's not what I want. So we're gonna do this. And I'm just gonna pass the URL. So we need an options array. Don't need an options array, but we'll do an options array because I stole this code from somewhere else. And the URL, I believe, is what right here. We're gonna do this URL, right? Gonna pass that in here. Okay, so this is the thing we're gonna hit, and then we're just gonna do some error checking. So if the response returns an error, right? If it's not an error, we're gonna do something. Otherwise, we're gonna return a new. We're gonna wait. If it's not an error, if this doesn't return an error, then that's cool. Otherwise, we're just going to return the response because that'll be an error anyways. So we'll just do this, right? Return response, right? Because it'll be a REST response error. I think it'll be a REST response error. I don't really know. We're gonna see. And then in here, if it's not an error, we're gonna just return. I don't actually know what yeah. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get the response from the API. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to quickly do this. I should just take my time and do it properly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna retrieve the body from the response. We're gonna JSON decode it, and then just for the sake of, I'm just gonna return whatever this response is. We'll see what we get back. I can't remember. We can probably see it in here. So, we got success, and we got data that comes out of there. So there must be a success and a data thing, and then whatever, we'll figure that out. All right, so this is gonna be, so now if we come into our site over here, probably can't see this, but I'm gonna go to WP-JSON, and we should see we got a Twitch I can't see what you're seeing. Is that zoomed in enough? So we got a Twitch v1. So if I go Twitch, I can type v/v1. I should see the endpoint that I created and what's it called. I should have a memes in there somewhere. Yeah, so that's the endpoint, the memes endpoint. So this is right here. Oh my God, look at that. And then so this just returns everything, right? That's great. That's all we need. So this is just hitting that API and it's returning it. I don't think there's any sort of, I can't remember if there's any sort of like search stuff. I think it just returns things, but maybe we did do a search. I can't remember. Filtered memes, meme images, set storage. Yeah, we can't pass, we're not passing anything to that. Cool. So what is the point? Well, actually what we probably want to do is not that. There it is. So we probably want to just return the data. So I'm gonna jump back over into my here, and I'm gonna say if is set. I wonder what happens if I do like get memes too, and I just, oh, there's been a critical error. That's what happens. I don't think that's from me. I think that's from this. So let me just refresh that. So that just doesn't work. That's fine. I'm just going to assume that if the status, I can get rid of this. I don't know what this, I need to know more about this API to really do some proper error checking. Why? Oh, get out of here. Sorry. So if the success is true, then we'll return the data, the memes, right? We'll just return that stuff. So we'll say if is set, what is it? API response. We're going to say success. If that's set. Oh my God, is this gonna just actually do this? Interesting. Look at that. GitHub Copilot is just doing it for me. I don't need that. I don't need this. All right. So what is this going to return here? Let's look. So just return the memes. So GitHub Copilot just wrote all that for me, which is phenomenal. Okay. So I'm going to say else. We're going to return. I'm just going to return just an error of some form. It will just return an error. Return new error. New error. And we'll call it memes. This is just going to tell us what an error is, and we'll say could not retrieve memes. I'm just going to do it that way because I have no idea what those errors are going to return. So anyways, we now have this endpoint that we can use. Is everyone with me so far? So far? Sound like I'm from there. Right? Cool? Good? Awesome? Okay, silence is complicity. So we will go forward with this. Now, the next thing that we need to do is somewhere in our codes. Looks like everyone's handling all the issues there. I appreciate you all for doing that. So I have this thing. Now I want to use this thing. So where should I use this thing? Let's use it in the, let's just use it. I'm just going to put it in this featured image block. So where to register the entity thing. So what I think we need to do is I'm going to pull. So the first thing now we need to get, we need to import up here. We're going to import dispatch. I don't think I want that. I just want dispatch for WordPress data. Okay, and then, the other thing I need is I want to get the core store. So the addEntities lives in the core data package, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to just do this here, random place, right? And it's not necessarily, this needs to be registered somewhere. I'm just going to register it here, just because there's not really any other place to do this. Like if I was building out, say, like a data store or something, then I would do that probably as part of the data store, or anywhere that I need this thing. It should be registered. Like I'm not going to register. I don't think I should register add the entity, inside like the edit function itself. I'm just going to add it with the sort of the root level of this core data store, and it's going to be not that. So you know what that is? Add entities, right? And it takes an array, and the array is a bunch of objects, right? So for this one, we want the we're going to say the base URL. The base URL is going to be basically it's going to be this. Should be that /memes. Right, so that's the URL it's going to hit. The kind is going to be Twitch. I'm just going to call it. Maybe I'll call it Twitch. Okay, the kind is Twitch. So this is the entity kind. This is the entity name is going to be memes, and then we'll give it a label, and the label will be dank memes, which is that a thing that people do? I don't know. Greetings, Flex Perception. How's it going? Dankest memes. Okay. Well, right now, Flex, we are working on. I'm sharing something that I learned yesterday about using entities, about adding our own entities, so we can then use things like getEntityRecords and fun things like that. Okay, so now that we've registered this, this should be available to us in, let's say, in here. Let's say that. So now I can go. Use entity. So I can pull useEntityRecords, right, from our data store. I'm just gonna grab this in here. I actually have no idea how this is going to be working, but I'm gonna go const. This is gonna be memes, memers. Yeah, memers. Why not? That's not even a thing. Memers. Oh, we're going with memes. Equals useEntityRecords, and then here we pass the name. So our type is Twitch, and our name is memes, right? So this corresponds with kind. So this could be like post type, for example, like post type, right? And then this would be say like post, right? So that's how you can make that connection, right? All right. So now when I run this, what I should get I'm gonna console.log this. Oh, excuse me, pardon me. Giant burp and yells here. One of my kids. So this should spit out an object if I've done it right. And we all know how that goes. So let's just see. I'm gonna jump over to here. Posts. Bring me your issues. Is this the one that we were messing with? I can't remember. Okay, so then we should have this in here. So I have this block. Let's look. Zoom this in. Console. There we go. Object. What is this? There we go. Okay. So this is great. So now we've got these dank memes that are coming in, right? So why do this? Like, what's the benefit of doing this over what we were doing in here? Is this the right one? Yeah, in here. Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, you don't need this at all. We don't need this use effect in any way, shape, or form anymore, which is great. We can just drop all that code, drop this use state stuff as well, right? Because we're probably using this stored images somewhere in here to like do. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I did some crappy development, but you don't need to worry about like creating your own like loading state anymore, because if you look, we have these 4 objects. So we have has resolved, is resolving. We've got the status, right? So if we look down here, so now we have is resolving is false, and we have all the records, right? So what we can do is we can build out our own loading state really, really easily by just doing something like this. We can say records, which is our which is the memes that'll come back, and then is resolving, right? So now we can go. I'm just going to do this real dirty. So if we go if is resolving, I'm going to. Oh, I should probably do this. I should do this here because all my hooks will be yelling at me. I'll just return. I can spell it. I'm going to say. Loading the dankest. Is that a thing kids say anymore? Dankest memes. And I can say else. We should be able to say return, and then whatever you want to do in here, like however you want to show these things, right? Memes are ready. Right, so hopefully this isn't going to call me a liar. This should probably happen real fast. Oh, yeah, call me a liar. What'd I do? Is this because I'm trying to hijack that other thing? Memes is not defined. Edit. What? Oh, dummy. I'm a dummy because memes is no longer defined. Now it's records. Yeah, that's right. That's right. See, so it said loading. So now we have this like built-in state, like our loading state. And then what's really cool about it, and one thing that is super duper cool about it, is you can actually, well, you can do this anyways. But if you want to like do another query, you can actually, there is a way to do it. You can dispatch an invalidate a resolution right here. So from the same store, you can do this. You can say invalidate resolution, and we want it from the. Did I not import that? I guess I didn't. What store is that from? What store is that from? It must be from. I'll just do this and put it in here. Oh wait, do I already have core data, core store? Okay, core store, and that anymore. Do I have dispatch data? Have used dispatch. Okay, so that should be everything I need. So this invalidate resolution, we can call that function, and it's a bit confusing, but basically the way it works is we call it sort of like this. Oh, who's this? Who's this? Get out of here, forbidding recipe. Can I block you? How do I block this guy? This person. I wish to block this. I don't know how to block that. Somebody tell me how to block this. See thread. Anyways, I'm gonna block you. You'll learn how to do things. Anyways, so what you would do is you would create a function. We could do it like const. We'll call it like reload memes. Reload memes. Right. And then we can do a function in here. And then we will call it like this. And so it's getEntityRecords, and it's going to be Twitch, and it's going to be memes, and then it will be any parameters that you pass to it, because this thing takes the type or the name, the name or the type, and then any if you pass, if this thing accepts the parameters, which it does not, but it would get past that. So you would pass that. I think this should do it too. And so we can test that by adding somewhere in here. We can say we'll add a little button. Do I have the button? Button, right? Refresh. Do I have a button? What? What is this yelling me for? And this I have to return. Oh. Okay. You're not lying. We'll do that. Okay. Do I have a button in here already? Components. I do. Okay. So and then we could say we'll go on click, and we'll just tell it to run this function, which is where reload memes. Right. So that should reload those memes. We could test that by looking at in here. You can see we're calling memes here. So that's the URL. That's what we're calling. I'll clear this. If I press this button, didn't work. Didn't work. I ran into this yesterday. Why didn't it work? I think I actually needed to pass that. I think. Loading the dankest memes. Refresh. There we go. Okay, so apparently it needs an empty object. So I can press this, and you can see that it's actually hitting the endpoint here. This is important because what happens is I think I've seen the space padding arguments before. Is that a setting in Prettier? Which one is this? Caliball? Sorry, what are we talking about? Are you talking about this stuff? Like the spaces in here? Space padded argument before do the thing arg. Yeah, it's a WordPress standard. So I am using Prettier. I'm also using WordPress coding standards. So if you look, so I'm using the WordPress Prettier config, which is basically the same, except it puts white space around that stuff. Yeah, so that's the WordPress one. So what I was saying was that the important thing to realize here is that when we use like a data store, when we use this entity records, it's actually going to store it. It's going to store it for us. It's going to keep it like in memory, right? Let's see if we can demonstrate that. So we look at core. What do we got in here? So we got no, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, so you can see, oh, this is really hard to show because it's pretty gigantic. So we look in the, so you see it's doing there. So it's finishing. So it invalidate the. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at a data store right now, and this data store is basically going to fire the action of invalidate a resolution. It's the name of the selector, and then these are the args that were passed to it to get the stuff we want. And so when that gets triggered, then it starts to start the resolution. It receives the items, and then now we have, and then it finishes stuff, right? It's gross. What's gross? Oh, the spacing stuff, Kev? Is that what you're? Don't get me started. I think we should just follow the rest of the JavaScript world, but that's a big conversation, and we've had that conversation, and it didn't happen. So Yeah, it's a thing. So anyways, so when we have this stuff in our data store, if we look at our state, I don't know if our state's going to be in here. Let's look. Does it get added? Let's see. Users, metadata, what's this stuff? I don't know if it gets added, where it gets added, but it does seem to get entities. Is it in here? Records, Twitch, memes, query data. Okay, cool. So what's actually happening, if I'm correct, what happens is this stuff gets all saved in cache. So if I invalidate this now, so what this should do is you'll see invalidate a resolution, and so I'll check. So it's going to go invalidate, and then it starts, it receives, it starts the resolutions, it finishes the resolution, and then it's done. But when I go to here, which is the one that I just created, right? I wonder if it. So what is it? Get entity records, and it should. Wow, I just lost it now. Where was that? Was it in get entity record? Get entity records. Map. So there should be nothing stored. And then when I get to here, I should have data somewhere. I can't remember where. Is it in here? Entities. Sorry. So we jump up to start resolution. We go to entities. We should see records. Twitch. Query data. We have query data. Do we have it? Items. Default. So it's in there. Is it? Oh, so maybe it doesn't clear it out, but it definitely thinks it hasn't hit the server, basically. And so that's what this is doing. It's like, oh, you want new data? Cool. I'll reach out and get you new data. Otherwise, if I were to make that query again, it would just return to me the stuff that's stored in cache. You know. I wonder if what were you saying, Kevin? I wonder if WP adopts Rust code, whether they will enforce PHP code styling there too. I don't know. It's, well, I see. So like, there's like 3 of us talking about it, and we're already in an argument about it. Like what Corey's saying, right? The rest of the JS worlds were spaces versus tabs, which is not really what we're discussing, but a little bit. So there's a lot of people with very, very strong opinions. There's like 20 years of WordPress coding standards. The PHP standards don't match sort of like the PSR stuff. It's sort of its own island, and JavaScript is very close to the prettier stuff, but it's also got some differences. So, I mean, it's a big ship to turn, right? It just sounds like Corey doesn't agree with any standards. but that's the thing. Like, we have people who have been working a certain way for 20 years. Like, imagine we just all of a sudden, in PHP, for example, like if you were to come in here, doing something like, what's something like, so if in here, if I were to go, I don't know, if thing is equal to true to test, right? This should yell at me because I need a Yoda clause, right? Return true. Is this gonna yell at me? We'll see. So this is, yeah. So I don't know if you ever heard of this Yoda clause thing, but basically the idea is that when you create when you're checking something in an if statement, you want to have the variable second, because if you do this, and excuse the pun, this is actually going to assign the value of test to this, and it's going to cause all kinds of weird errors, right? But whereas, so if you typo that, but whereas if you do this, right, this is what WordPress wants you to do, because if you do this, it will fatal. It'll say you can't assign a variable to a thing. Yeah, they're really dumb. But here's the thing. Can you imagine if we just said we're going to get rid of that and everything has to go back the other way now? How much code that will affect in the world? Like, can you imagine how much code that is? Not just core, not just Gutenberg, but every plugin ever written for 20 years. Like, there's a ton of code. So there's a lot of stuff that we got to think through about adoption here, right? Like, if we update the coding standards, or if someone updates the coding standards, no, you don't have to enforce it but that's not a standard though. If you don't, yeah. So okay, sure. In that case, we remove the iota check. But what if we all of a sudden said now we don't ever want to have space? Like you also need to have a space after if or any control statement, right? So what if we decided to go away with that to match a different standard, or we just abandoned this standard, right? My point is, if we make a change to a standard and adopt a different one, everything has to change. All the code has to change, right? So there's a ton of churn. And if all the linting tools that we use adopt that new standard, then everybody who has those linting tools and they're using them is going to like break stuff, right? Yeah, it's a big YOLO commit for sure. And have you ever added like Husky? If you're not familiar with Husky, it's like it's a pre-commit tool. So what you do is you install it in your project and then you tell it to run a bunch of linting stuff on anything that you're about to commit. And it'll fail and won't let you commit until you fix all those issues. It's a fantastic tool. I use it all the time. I love it. It's fantastic. It just makes it so much easier. But what if you just add it to a project that's like old, right? And you touch a file and that file's got 1,000 lines of code in it. And now you have to go and fix 1,000 lines of code that you didn't do anything with, right? So there's definitely some considerations. Yeah, I mean, it's happened to me, like, you know. Yeah, totally. It's just, but you understand the hesitance, like why people would be hesitant to like make like, this is a small change. Like just doing this to this is a small change, but how much, like how, like what would be the plus minus in there? You know what I mean? I know you like give me a hard time, Corey. I know you do. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, I think WordPress needs to, some of its coding standards needs to get more in line with sort of the broader community because it drives adoption. People coming from JavaScript don't have to change the way their code looks, and because it's weird, it's like some cognitive dissonance, right? About trying to figure out, and I'm just on my soapbox ranting now at this point, but I think that it makes it harder to adopt something if it looks different, even though you're writing the same code, right? And yeah, you know, and with the amount of automated linting, people don't have to remember the stuff anymore. Like when I was writing PHP, you know, my agency days, like, you know, we had PHP CS, but it was like I got to the point where I was just like, I knew exactly, I knew exactly what I had to write to not fail. Anyhow, whatever. So does this entities thing make sense to everyone? The thing that I did, this thing. And so you can do multiples. Now there's a whole bunch of parameters in here, and I haven't really wrapped my brain about them all, right? Adoption isn't worth ceding to people that don't care about accessibility implications of not using tabs, though. I will never be convinced otherwise. Accessibility as in, yeah. Well, it's just a way to store data in a database. It's not a way to store data in the database. What is going on? I'm getting my weird. That is super weird. Sorry, I just got a warning that like all my RAM is now belong to us. I'm gonna just do that. So I might just close something down. Just a range. Anyways, I forget what I was saying. I don't want to use spaces. I like tabs personally. That's me. I like tabs, bar tabs, tabs in code, whatever. I like it. Such a random stupid thing to say. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, so somebody was asking a question about where was it? Let's rant about entities really are. Right, Flex. Sorry. So an entity isn't a way to store a database. What you're doing is it's a way of getting it into the data store. So the database and the data store are two different layers. Think of it as like RAM versus a hard disk. If that makes sense. I think. And Kev, correct me if my analogy is wrong, because it could be. So like your database is like the physical information, right? Or the API or whatever it is, right? And so what we're doing with an entity is we're allowing us to leverage the data store that's layered on top of all of that. So we can say, get me this thing and return it. Now, I haven't really put it through its paces. Like I haven't ever tested to see, like everything that I've seen is a URL that is based on an endpoint that we've created or is available, right? So I think you could do some things like if you wanted to add additional parameters, you could do that. Like I think, actually, let's test this. I have no idea if this is going to work, but what if we did like, I don't know the best way to test this because I actually don't know what parameters it accepts. I do know that there's a name parameter. I have seen that one, and that helped me do something. And then I've seen some other stuff that was like in core. Like if we look at, if we go to Gutenberg in here, and I just do a search for addEntities. You can see the source of the entities here. I don't know why it doesn't default to trunk, but we're gonna put it back to trunk. So you can see some of these things like post type. So the name is post type. I don't actually know what kind root means. Like I don't really know, but the key is gonna be the slug. So this makes me feel like this is sort of a okay. So I wonder if I can. Sorry. So when we do a get entity records for post type, right? We always say the name. The first thing it's post type. The second thing is going to be the name of the post type, which is going to be the key is going to be the slug. So the slug of the post type. So post, whatever you've called the thing, right? So I wonder if we could do our own, right? And it's hitting types, and then there's media. There's taxonomy. So again, the key is the slug. I don't know why kind is set to root. I really don't know what that means, and I'd love to. I don't know where this is documented. That's the problem. Because I don't actually know what this is doing. So where is this actually getting called? Let's look. Load entity post types. Base URL, namespace, post, rest base, context edit, name, post type entities. So it's creating all those. Yeah, maybe. So this is loading some taxonomy stuff. Method name. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes here, right? We've got, but this is sort of, so if I find where this it gets passed, I think just to where it dispatches, not there, what? Where's the addEntities? Still configs. So it's doing a whole bunch of stuff in behind the scenes. So this is not exactly clear, right? But what I think is happening is this allows you to say, get me a thing. So the kind is root, the name is media. That's the URL, media items. Yeah, I want to do a bit of digging in this because it certainly needs some documentation because it's just not clear what these things do. I mean, I figured this out because I know someone that did one of these things, and then when I was working on something, it didn't work for me immediately. I was hitting custom endpoint that just basically retrieved a list of things, and those things had a key of name, right? Is all this stuff? No. No. So WP, so again, the constant, so this is what Flex is asking. Anytime I see dispatch, I get exactly know I have to spend forever tracking down the action. Yeah, it's a little bit redonkulous. But you can get the name of the action. So we can find it. Well, I mean, obviously we can get the name of the action. let's look. So if we go into Redux again, this is a fantastic add-on. And if we go to core, I think. No, what store did I pull that from? Let's look. Core data. Oh no, it's from data. Data? No, I don't even know anymore. We got to find that action. What's the action? Finished. So, let's see what that was. What? A bunch of. I don't even know where to start to find this. Blocks. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. We can find that action somewhere. I'm sure it's in the store. The timer is running. What timer is running? What timer? Oh, this stupid timer? Timer's. Thanks. I'll drop out. I suppose my question is not relevant as I am not a dead. Good luck. Okay. Sorry I wasn't able to answer your question. Looks like a bunch of people were. I said spread forever, tracking it down. Yes. Kev. Well, it's not that hard. We just go into here, and we go into source, and we go into, let's see, you guys taught me, and we go into actions, and then we go into add entities, and there we go. Found it. Boom. There you go. And then we can look in the reducer and see what it does, I guess, right? So we go in the reducer, and we'll find add entities, which of course is not in here. Why would it be in here? Terms, receive user query, receive thingy, entity, receive items, keep going, receive items, edit records, save entity, delete entity, add entities. So here we go. So there's the entities config. That's the reducer for add entities. State action.entities. So it's super helpful. And then we're combining a bunch of reducers. Anyhow, that's good times. Cool. So Flex, I keep talking and then I keep getting sidetracked, so I apologize. This stuff is not available in WP-CLI in the sense of the way that we're talking about it. It is absolutely available in WP-CLI because you can access the database in WP-CLI. So you wouldn't go and call like getEntityRecords or useEntity. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is that you have to call this. Again, a sidetrack. First things first. WP-CLI, we have access to all the things in the database. If you wanted to hit this endpoint using WP-CLI, you absolutely could. You could do it that way. I don't know if you could actually call. I mean, you can call you do it. You could do this entire thing in a WP-CLI command for sure, but you wouldn't call it like the way that we've seen it, like in our JavaScript. Does that make sense? Flex, am I explaining that right? Like, does that make sense to you? It's an abstraction layer on top of a data store, and it's JavaScript helping us to make life a little bit easier. Try to hit your new entity for WP-CLI. Well, you can't because it doesn't exist. It's only registered in JavaScript. So, yeah, it's not a dater. Date her? Who are you dating? Taylor? Terrence? What are you doing? Yeah, you can't hit an entity because you're not creating anything new. You're creating it in JavaScript, in memory in JavaScript, but you're not putting it in the database. And WP-CLI is only PHP. And yeah, okay, so it's like a temporary storage. Yeah, think of it like that. So if you're familiar with like a single page application, right? Like a React application, it's got its internal state. It hydrates, it gets information from a from a database, and it populates the stuff that it needs. And then you can using JavaScript, like there's any number of way of doing it, but like apiFetch or fetch or like whatever SSR, SWR. I can't remember the name of the thing. Anyways, there's a bunch of ways of getting data, right? But that hits an endpoint, returns that, and puts it into your application. And this is similar. But what it does is it does all the caching for you in the sense of like you make a request, you get that information then gets stored in the sort of the in-memory data store. And then if you want that data again, you don't have to hit the endpoint. Like it doesn't hit the database, it just returns it from the JavaScript. And that's why we need this invalidate resolution, because what that does is it says, I want you to get rid of everything that's in there and just do a fresh query because maybe somebody added a new meme or something. What I wanted to mention was invalidate resolution. Am I using it right now? No, but that would be what you should do. Absolutely. You could you could do that. You could do it in a number of ways. You could store it on the server here like this. You can get transient, is that what I'm looking for? Yeah. So you could say like, if data equals get transient, right? You would do something like this. It's been a while since I wrote one of these. The logic might be weird, but right. So if that data exists, we're going to return it. We're going to just return that data, right? Done. Otherwise, then we make a request for it, right? Like this. And there's some logic in here, but basically at this point, what we would do is we would say set transient, right? And then we would return it. We would do something like that. There's a cleaner way of doing this. So you'd say, but basically if it exists and we're ready to go, then we're going to set the transient to here, and then we're going to set the data that comes, and then we're going to set it to, what is that, 24 hours? Something like that. Is transient the best? What's the correct way for caching? So there's two ways to cache, and it all kind of does the same thing. So get transient. So there's, what's the other way? WP cache? Cache add, right? So it's cache add, right? So caching requires a caching plugin on the server for it to really work, right? So that's what WP cache add and cache delete and cache get does, right? So the difference, I'll explain the difference right now. So get transient is probably where you want to go if you want to be guaranteed, no matter where your code is running, that okay, let's back it up. You have a server and you have something like memcached, or you've got Redis. We've all got Reddit, yeah. So if you've got some kind of caching layer running, and your server is set up, and you've got, your WordPress will know it's there and it will work it. Then these things are interchangeable. They do the same thing. So WP cache add wants you to have something like, can we see? So the object cache, so whatever the object cache is, it will work, right? So if we have that set, it will add it. Now, the thing about get transient is it does this cool thing. Maybe I should show you set transient. Maybe I'll see that better. So set transient is going to look to see, do we have an existing object cache? Is there something like Redis or memcached, memcached, whatever you call it? Is that, if it exists, we're going to actually behind the scenes call the cache set thing, and that's going to get stored in an object caching layer. If it doesn't, then we're going to store it as an option on your site. And that's an important distinction, because you're guaranteed that this will cache either way. Downside is you have to do an object, so when you set it, you want to make sure what it's going to do is you always want to set, is there a transit name? There was something, if we set the expiry to 0, you always want to set an expiry for it, because if you don't set an expiry, it will be set to auto load. That's what it is, right? So auto loading all your options is a bad time, because let's say that you're like, so the point of caching is you're going to cache really expensive queries, like really expensive queries that result in a huge amount of like output or something, right? Can't the expiration length expire before the actual length? I'm not sure what you mean by that. But it will eventually expire, yes. But so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you set some expiry. It can be a year from now, it doesn't matter. But you want to set an expiry, because if you don't set an expiry, and this is a bug in my opinion, this is a flaw in the system. Because let's say that you have let's say that you're doing very expensive queries and you're doing them on a per page basis, because your page informs the other things and you've got very expensive taxonomy queries or whatever, right? And if you don't set the expiry, you will auto load every single one of those site options on every single page load, and it will kill your page load. Like it'll slow down your site. So the difference between cache add and this one, set transient, in a nutshell, is that this uses options. Uses options if no caching. I don't know why I'm writing this down. Plugin is installed, and I don't mean plugin like no caching layer exists on the server, right? On the server, this won't work. If there's no caching layer, it won't work. It just won't do it. It'll just not be a thing. Right? So it's important. So if you know that your stuff, like if you know that your code is going to be running on WordPress.com VIP, guaranteed that they have a caching layer, so you can use either one of these. If you're writing a plugin and you want to cache, say, let's say that you want to, it's a Twitter feed, or I don't know, it's a whatever, it's some feed of some form, right? And you don't want it to, every time the page loads, you to query the API, you may want to use set transient to cache the output of that and have it expire every 5 minutes or something, right? And then you're not hitting that server all the time. But if you set transient and there's no caching layer, it'll save it as an option, and you still get the benefit of caching, even though technically you're still hitting a database. It's just not as big of a query. Does that make sense? Taylor, does that answer your question? So, long story short, if you don't know where your code's going to be, use set transient, but always set an expiry. Always. Unless you need it to be auto-loaded on every single page. Right? Yep. Use set transient with, I can't say this enough, set the expiry. Always set an expiry. Even if you don't want it to expire for a year from now, make sure you set it, because you don't want it, auto-loading is worse than a cache that's stuck around too long. There you go. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Unless you want to ask me, and I'll tell you again that guess what you should do when you're using set transient, you should always set the expiry. Exactly. Okay, great. Moving on. I had a talk for this one year that I had it all planned out in my head, and I just never had a chance to do it, and it was called Cache Money. It's such a good talk name. Like cache, C-A-C-H-E. Oh yeah. That was my talk name. Awesome. Well, yeah, I don't really know. What were we even doing today? So I showed you the thing. Oh, right. Okay, so this is the other thing that I want to talk about. Before I do though, Flex, did I answer your question? Give me a thumbs up or a thumb down if I did. Terrence, you're good with the transient stuff, right? Cool. So you might notice, so let me talk about this invalidate resolution callback then. Sweet. That was pretty decent. Oh, pretty decent. I think you mean that was amazing. I don't know. Thank you for the compliment. You're fantastic. So with invalidate resolution, the way it works is it's the name of the selector that you're using, and then the parameters that it was passed. That's how that works. Because I'm pretty sure there's a key generated in there behind the scenes that is like some sort of amalgamation of those items. So it's unique. You know what I'm saying? But you'll notice that I'm using useEntityRecords and this is getEntityRecords. Now that's just the way it is, because under the hood, useEntityRecords uses getEntityRecords, and it's functioning the same thing. This is just the hook version. So, but I wanted to call that out because I'm pretty sure, and let me check. I didn't even check this far. I'm pretty sure if you call that, it won't work. But let's find out. Let's find out what happens. I'm so excited and a little nervous. A little nervous. I might have just peed a little. Maybe a little. Okay, so we've got our memes, our memes right there. So what happens if I click this? Yeah, see, I'm clicking. You can't see it, but maybe you can hear it. It's not working. Quick. So we're gonna set it back to the getEntityRecords. So it's important to understand that it's the actual selector under the hood that is being used that you have to use to invalidate. So if I refresh this now, we should get our memes, and then I should be able to clear this. And then if I hit that again, boom, we get another memes thing. It's pretty rare, I think, that you'll want to invalidate this. I've used it. I've used it like twice, and it's for very specific reasons where the things that I was querying for, I could also, like in the same interface of when I was retrieving, I could also create. Like an example was I was building a block that I'm sure I've told you guys this, but these guys Twitter post reload. Yeah, that's a great or new load. Yeah. So the example that I did was I was building a block that allowed you to it's basically to display some linked PDF files, some documents, right? And what we wanted to do was we wanted to be able to control the order of them. Like, first of all, it would take all the PDFs that were attached to a particular post and display them, and then you could put them in a custom order in that block. So, yeah. But you could also upload new items to that particular, like via that same interface. So if I was like, I ordered stuff and then I dragged and dropped a PDF in there, what I needed to have it do was I needed it to invalidate my media, like my attachment query or whatever. Hey, did I just get my follower goal? Who's that? Flex? You weren't even following me? What? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you for helping me hit that follower goal. Y'all are amazing. Now I just don't even know what it's saying. Right. Okay. Sorry. So what we did, I am about La WordCamp de Europa. I will be there. And if anyone else is there, we're gonna hang out and we're gonna have a good time. And I'm not speaking, which is a bummer, but that's cool because I get to hang out with more people. And I'm excited for that. And yeah. So what we did was when you uploaded something, a PDF, it would another talk on slots. Maybe, I don't know if they ask me, but I doubt they will. That's been pretty much beat to death. Anyways, when we uploaded the PDF, it would invalidate the request, and then all of a sudden that new PDF that just got uploaded would now be in your list, and you could do that. But Flex, you could absolutely use it for new posts, new anything that you need to get the latest of when you're working on it. It's a good use case of this. So anyway, Terrence, I'm calling you Terrence. I know it's not your name, but I'm calling you that. You're going to WordCamp Europe, right? To WordCampy. Is anyone else going to WordCamp Europe? I'm going to do a Calendly link again, where we can, if anyone wants to hang out and talk shop with me, I will be available. I don't have it set up yet, but I will have it set up before. You're going to WordCamp US, Corey? Nice. I'm hoping to go as well. I'm hoping to go. I'm not sure yet. It'll depend on a few things, but I would love to go. I went to my first WordCamp US in San Diego last year, and it was awesome. I got to meet some really awesome people and hang out with everyone. So I'm excited. But if I go, we're gonna hang out for sure. Definite. Are you going to the community summit as well? For those who don't know, there's a community summit just before the WordCamp where they talk about like the direction of the WordPress project and like, you know, and stuff. You pencil me in. Thanks, I appreciate it. My people talk to your people. Speaking of pencil me in, when are you gonna have me back on the podcast, man? What's going on? Like, come on, me and Kevin, we'll have JavaScript duel. I'll lose in round 1. Be great. Yeah. I don't know. I might cut this a little short today because I don't have a lot to talk about. I'm really excited to show you all that stuff. And thanks for the fantastic question about, what was the question? Transients. That was a great question. That's something that like, I think a lot of people don't really know. Yeah. And I think it can be really beneficial, but also really bite you if you don't understand some of the intricacies, right? Do options get cached too? They do get cached. It's kind of funny. So let's look. So if we look at option, if we look at get option, we can look in here. If this one will let me open it, it should actually somewhere in here. I think there's some caching. Yeah. So we're gonna look for it's somewhere cache get. So it's actually under the hood. It's using the cache get stuff. So it's a bit of a caching inception. But again, options are stored in the database. And if you don't have a caching layer, which is what this uses, then you won't take advantage of that. But if you're using get transient or set, if you're using get transient and set transient, it will. So only really if you expect the data to expire. Well, no, because you can. I think in the set you can actually set expiry as well, right? So the idea is like expiry is more about. I've always thought of expiry with caching, less about like. How long do I want to be caching? Like how long do I want to get the performance boost from caching? More like how long do I need this data? Like does this data make sense to be around for 1 minute or an hour or 24 hours, right? If you're just using cache to like speed something up, you can make a really short expiry and then it just goes away, right? So that's how I've always thought of caching. It's less about because you're getting performance boosts anyways, right? So if you're doing something really expensive and really like requiring a lot of processing, but you're only doing it once a year, yeah, exactly. Everything in code is like it depends. If you're doing a really expensive cache, like let's say that you're trying to do something with like I don't know WP cron, right? And you've got a list of you've got a list of posts, and every 24 hours that list of posts gets updated or something, right? It might make sense for you to like query the results of like it might make sense for you to do a WP query to get the post list and then just cache that list of post IDs and then just pass that to something. Like there's so you're not having to loop through. So here's an example. Let's say you have a very, very expensive taxonomy query where you've got not in, and you've got like all these things, and you need pagination, and you have to do all this stuff. So you do that query once, and then what you can do is you can just cache the list of IDs that come out of it. And then instead of doing that query again, you just get the cache and do a for loop on the IDs and do all the things that you need to do. So you're sort of bypassing that expensive part. That's the whole point of caching, right? So set your expiries to something that makes sense with what you're doing. Yeah. If you're only doing something once every 24 hours, setting your expiry to an hour doesn't make any sense, right? And setting it for 6 months also doesn't make sense. So set it up for what you're doing. Quit bugging me about it. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like we need a dev blog post on developer.wordpress, or what is it, developer. In here, in the developer blog. We need one about caching. And by the way, Kevin, thank you for calling out that little factual error in my Webpack post, this is just a shameless self-promotion now for everyone to go read this. Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was an unfortunate editorial mistake. Let's put it that way. Yeah, cool. Anyways, I'm going to let y'all go, but thanks for hanging out with me. I am not going to be streaming next week because I am away we're doing an internal team building, team meetup thing. So I'm going to be in the UK. I'm going to be in Bristol. If anyone is actually in Bristol, let me know. No, Kevin, I don't want you to read my draft next time. No, I appreciate it. It's publicly open. If you hang out in what's the channel? I think it's literally like developer blog or blog editorial room in the WordPress chat, and it's definitely open for review. There's a review process that happens there. But anyhow, cool. All right, everyone. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you in 2 weeks, and in the meantime, I'm going to go to England and eat fish and chips and drink tea, because that's what you do. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all soon. Oh, let me just see who is rating or who's streaming right now. Nobody is streaming right now, so I guess we can't rate anyone. So I guess I will say thank you again, and I will say whatever forever. I didn't even know you were here. Thanks for hanging out. Welcome back. Awesome. I just want to say I really appreciate you all hanging out with me every week and taking time out of your day to watch me ramble on and create horrible code and get corrected by Kevin in real time. It's fantastic. Like who else streams like in the world? Lots of people, but we follow. Sometimes we raid Finite Singularity, who is an awesome guy who wrote this really cool tool that I use called Tau. It's like the Twitter API unifier or something. So it's like anyways, it has to do with my bot. And then the Primogen, we went and raided him one time, but nobody's on today who I follow. Anyways, and yeah, but those are two folks that I'd recommend. Daisy Olson, she doesn't stream the same time as me though. I think she's taking a bit of break, but Kevin, you better start streaming again. I would love to come to your streams and sit quietly and say nothing. That's what I'd like to do. Wish more people on this stream would do that. Just kidding. That'd be awesome. Let me know if you start streaming, because I would definitely come and hang out. Yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm out of here. You're out of here. Well, I'll talk to you later. You guys are the best. You guys and girls are the best. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content about Gutenberg and WordPress development.